very warm welcome to Mining Review Africa. Today we have the pleasure of speaking to Abel Tunono, Country Lead and Director for SRK Consulting Zambia. Abel, welcome.
Thank you so much, and morning, everyone.
Abel, the Zambian government has set an ambitious target for increasing copper production to 3 million tons per annum by 2032. From SRK's perspective, what are the key opportunities and challenges that will shape the success of this growth strategy?
Thank you so much for that question. I think it's important to state that it's essential that a country or any organization makes targets. And in this case, you mentioned about 3 million tons of copper production by 2032-31. So the setting up the target then helps the country or any organization to focus on what are the key important things to focus on. So in this regard, you look at the benefits that are going to come out of the mineral extraction. And also quite important is then to look at the challenges and the opportunities. And so if you talk about the opportunities, obviously, in terms of the copper production having been increased to 3 million tons, what will that mean? It will mean that the country will get more benefit in terms of revenues that potentially can then be used to develop the country. And so if you look at the opportunities, first and foremost, obviously, is the increased revenue from the copper production. Once that is done, then there will be a demand. Once the increase of the production happens, there will be a demand for skilled workers. And so the opportunity then lies in the universities and also the technical colleges to make sure that there is a supply of those skilled laborers. So in a nutshell, it will increase the opportunities for jobs within Zambia, which will increase the livelihood of people working in Zambia. So that's some of the benefits. And also the government will be setting up partnerships, which means then they will look at the local investors and international investors, which will then bring in more capital and then invest into mining. So that sets up the government to take ownership within the mining, and then obviously then that will trickle down to the communities. And then equally important is the sustainability. So the government is pushing sustainability, ESGs, environmental, social, and also governance around that. And that will mean that the mining will be done in an environmentally friendly manner, hence securing the future.
Sure, that's amazing. SRK Consulting recently established a new practice in Kitwe. I hope I'm saying that right. What motivated this decision, and how will having a dedicated in-country presence benefit mining companies operating in Zambia?
Thank you so much for that question. So I think before I answer that question, I just have to mention that SRK, the global SRK, has been present in Zambia since the inception, which was around about 1974. So most of the mining personnel, those who've been long in the mining industry within Zambia, have had an opportunity to interact with SRK. And so having to bring SRK within Zambia then means it's a continuity of that knowledge which sits with SRK, and potentially for the local mining industry, that will mean that there is a direct access to that knowledge. And it means that whenever there is a need from the local mining companies to access that knowledge, there is a presence within Zambia, which is Kitwe, like you mentioned. And I think equally important, it means that then that knowledge transfer is within Zambia. The cost of bringing that knowledge is very cheap because now the presence will be within Zambia. We only tap on the international SRK expertise when the need arises. but the idea is to make sure that the manning of the SRK Zambia is done with local skilled workforce. So we are also in a drive to identify key young geologists, engineers that can start being groomed within SRK, and eventually then they will start servicing the industry locally.
Amazing, Abel. And how can SRK's multidisciplinary expertise help mining companies improve operational safety and sustainability throughout the mine cycle?
Okay, no, thank you so much. So the industry right now within Zambia mining, and generally I think it's the same, most of the mining operations within the world and Africa, the ore bodies, the ones which are close to surface are much weaker. We what are called oxides. Obviously, it's because of the weathering profile, and then there is also a continuity of those ore bodies down deep, and unfortunately, the situation is that most of these ore bodies that are coming up are low grade. So for you to open up a mine, it will mean that the footprint of those mines will be much bigger, which means there is a requirement to do detailed analysis, exploration before those mines come up to operation. And that's where now SRK is structured. So the SRK Zambia office, like I mentioned, manned by locals, and then also tapping up from the international global presence of SRK will mean that the risks around management of mining operations is closer to the door of those mining houses.
Sure. Abel, artificial intelligence and big data have been identified as key trends shaping the future of mining. How do you see this technology transforming mineral exploration and mining operations in Zambia over the coming years?
Okay, no, thank you so much. So SRK Global is actually in the part of the forefront in terms of artificial intelligence technology. We have a team seated within SRK that just looks at the technology innovation, which also includes AI. So as we go on into mining, the data sets now are becoming much bigger. Obviously, because of the improved technology like geophysics, ground penetrating radars, and even the exploration itself from drill. So for you to pick up the proper trends to identify the ore bodies, because you're talking about huge data sets, that's where now this technology, artificial intelligence comes in, so that you pick up the trends that eventually then help you to identify what are the ore bodies and how best can you then push them forward to actually being mines. Even when it becomes an operating mine, there's still a lot of data that is or comes out from mining operations. And for you to then make good decisions, artificial intelligence then comes into play.
As SRK now has a footprint in Zambia, how do you plan to support local skills development, community engagement, and responsible mining practices that create long-term value for the country?
Thank you so much. So, like I mentioned, I think the key is to make sure that the SRK Zambia is manned by local expertise. And with that regard, obviously the global SRK coming in. We have already engaged the Copperbelt University, where the graduates come in geology mining. And our idea is we want to create partnerships with the universities. Meaning that the knowledge that we've got within SRK Global and also that will be coming in within the SRK Zambia experienced personnel, they'll be conducting engagements at the universities. So here, what I mean is specialized topics we'll pull up from our global portfolio to provide those engagements on key topics at the universities. And also the other thing that we've done, we are already identifying potential young personnel who will then fill up those positions. Our portfolio is also including the research side of things. on the mining aspects, which is already a model which is existing within the SRK. So the idea there is to make sure that within the universities we are there, we discuss or present key topics in terms of lecturing, and also in the community that we'll be working on. We potentially would be bringing in interns and also the local community so that they gain the knowledge and make sure that it then sustains the operations going forward.
Wow, that's amazing. That was Abel Tunono, Country Lead and Director for SRK Consulting in Zambia, giving us more insight on what SRK Consulting in Zambia has to offer the mining industry. Abel, thank you for your time.